Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of the Million Pound Mission Podcast. It's your buddy Adam, the PhD, the previously heavy dude, and this is episode number 282, how to maximize your caffeine intake. Any coffee drinkers out there? I know you guys are out there. We're going to dive into this one today. I've been experimenting with some things with caffeine, and I'm super psyched to share those things with you. First, before we dive into that, I want to give you guys a shout out. The interaction has been just leveled up lately. I know a lot of you are prepping for the holiday season, kind of, just getting your mind right, getting your game plan in place, ramping up towards that holiday season instead of giving up. We're ramping up, not giving up. We are going to lose weight, maintain momentum. That's the goal for our community here. The naming situation of our community, I know I've mentioned this before, but that's an ongoing process. Right now, one of my favorite names for our Million Pound Mission community is the Mission Possible Community. I like that a lot. So let me know what you think. Hit me up on Instagram at Million Pound Mission and help me name our community here. I think that's an important thing to do so I can speak to you directly. So do you like the Mission Possible Community? Maybe the Mission Possible Crew? Something along those lines. Let me know what you think. Speaking of the community, this month of October is open registration, open enrollment for a 10-day trial inside of our Transformation Reboot program. That's my coaching program where I help you get a game plan in place, put a supportive community around you with that game plan, and we hold you accountable with one-on-one chats, group chats. I've got an online course component. All the good stuff is included. You can check that out at millionpoundmission.com. Start your free 10-day trial this month. The next enrollment period won't be until 2020. So if you need some help with the holiday season, now is the time to do that. The perfect time to start reclaiming control of your health is now. Okay, so let's talk about caffeine, all right? Caffeine is something that I avoided for a really long time, but I know a lot of you are heavy caffeine consumers. And I also I became interested in nootropics and through my buddy Jason Deere, the founder and CEO of the Ultra Human. So I started dabbling in that, and I was like, let's experiment with caffeine a little bit just to maximize performance. I'm about physical and mental performance. How can we use natural substances to aid our progress in those areas? And caffeine is one of those things. So I've been experimenting just for the last few months here. And I feel like I've got a little bit of a protocol that might be helpful to some of you. And the goal of this episode, I've got a few different goals. Number one, I want to help you find the minimum effective dose that makes a difference for you both mentally and physically. This is important. The second thing is I want to save you from having to continuously add more caffeine to feel it working. I know a lot of you are there. You started off as a one cup a day coffee drinker. Now you're 4 or 5 cups a day. And that's hard on your nervous system. You're just torching your central nervous system, might be screwing up your sleep, and it gets expensive, especially if you're buying the expensive Starbucks stuff, right? And the third thing I want to help is avoid headaches from caffeine withdrawal. So if you don't drink coffee or have any caffeine in a day, then how do we avoid that withdrawal symptoms? All right. So those are the 3 things that we're going to focus on helping you out with today. And the first step, I know this is probably not what you guys want to hear. The first step for a lot of you is going to be a caffeine detox, but I've got a specific protocol that you can totally do, and it's going to set you up to achieve the 3 things that we just talked about, right? So who needs to do a caffeine detox? If you fit one of these prototypes, we will call it, then you should probably do a little caffeine detox. So number one, if you are somebody that is continuously adding more caffeine to your daily regimen just to get through the day. So like, oh my God, still tired, more coffee, got another meeting, more coffee, 5-hour energy shot, things like that. If you're constantly leaning on those things just to get through the day, we need to do a detox. The second thing, if you don't feel the effects of caffeine anymore, if you're hitting that 5-hour energy shot and it gave you like 0 hours of energy, we need to do a little caffeine detox. Also, if you feel terrible without caffeine, so if you go without it and you have headaches and you just feel like subhuman, like you just can't mentally put a full sentence together, then we need a detox. All right, so again, quick recap on that. Who needs this? if you're continuously adding more, if you don't feel the effects of more, and if you feel terrible without more caffeine. So if you go without anything, you're feeling the symptoms. So let's cover a little 2-week detox scenario. I've kept this super simple. I've run people through this. So it's not just something like, hey, let's experiment in my podcast listeners. This is something that's helped my clients that I'm working with, and we're seeing really good benefits from it. And I didn't have to do this myself because I was taking in 0 caffeine. So I started with the caffeine protocol that I'm going to describe here in a minute. But this is working for real people just like you guys. So check it out. All right, 2-week detox. The first week, what I want you to do is reduce your caffeine intake by 25% from baseline. So if you're tracking milligrams of caffeine, if you're doing 200 milligrams a day, then I want you to subtract 50 and just do 150. So you'll feel it a little bit, but it's not going to give you like rager headaches and things like that. You still have some in your system. You're just knocking it back by 25% per day. If you're more of a person that's like, well, I do 4 cups of coffee a day, then just back it up to 3 and space those out evenly so that your body doesn't really get hit hard. All right. So that's the first part of week 1. The second part of week 1 is I want you to have 1 complete day that's caffeine free. And we have to choose this day wisely. Choose this day where it's going to be an easy social day. You don't have a lot, you don't want to do this if you're doing a keynote presentation for your office or something like that. Or like with me, if I'm doing podcast interviews, I don't want to, that's a heavy thinking, heavy speaking. I have to be able to put thoughts together functionally. That's not going to be my no caffeine day. All right. Think about social things too. If you get a little cranky, you might get a little hangry. So on that day, you might allow yourself some extra clean calories. I don't want you low calorie deficit, and no caffeine, because that is a recipe for Hangryville. All right. And I don't want you to be the mayor of Hangryville, listeners of the Million Pound Mission podcast. So week 1, again, we reduce the intake by 25% from baseline. So if you're a 4 cup a day kind of guy or gal, then reduce it to 3 cups a day. And then we have 1 day that's well chosen that is completely caffeine free. We can add some extra calories on that day, clean calories ideally, and also just be ready with some some ibuprofen or aspirin or something to help with. You'll probably have a little bit of a headache on that day. That's why we're detoxing. Think about it. Like if you ate broccoli every day for the rest of your life and then you didn't eat broccoli for a day, you wouldn't get a broccoli withdrawal headache. So it's important that we are keeping this stimulant, that we're using it for good and we're not overusing it to the point where we have these withdrawal symptoms. So this is a part of the deal. All right, so that's week 1. Week 2, I want you to reduce your intake by another 25% from baseline. So again, if starting off you were at 200 milligrams a day, now we're going to be down a full 50%, down to 100 milligrams per day. Or if you were a 4 cup a day type of person, then you'll be a 2 cup a day at this point. So we reduce by another 25%. We're also going to add a second day of the week that's caffeine free. I would space this out from the other day, or else you might be like, your skin will turn green and you will Hulk out on somebody at work. And we don't want that. I don't want you getting fired. I don't want to get that Instagram message. Dear Adam, I got fired from work because I raged at my boss because I did 2 no caffeine days in a row. We don't want that. All right. I don't want that kind of, I love hearing from you guys, but I don't want that kind of messaging from you on the IG. So week 2, we reduce by another 25%. And then we have 2 days that are caffeine free. Once we complete this, we are ready to jump into the what I'm calling the PhD, the Previously Heavy Dude Caffeine Protocol. Hey, this is just a quick reminder that this month, the month of October, is open enrollment for our Transformation Reboot membership. If you are somebody that has been sucked into that black hole of weight loss doom, you lose weight, you gain it back over and over and over again, I have a solution for you. I'm going to let you try it out for free for 10 days. Head on over to millionpoundmission.com. Start your free 10-day trial of the Transformation Reboot program. Now, let's get back to this episode. And I've just got some rules for you. And I want you to apply these rules. There's 3 rules. And then you can put your own little calendar together, your caffeine calendar, and I will show you what mine looks like here at the end of the episode. So rule number 1 of the PhD caffeine protocol is always have 2 days per week caffeine free. All right. And once you get used to this, if we're doing things correctly, you are not going to feel terrible or get headaches on these off days. All right. And how exciting would that be to where, you just don't feel optimized. I want you to feel the effects of caffeine. I want you to feel like you're really clicking at like 115% effectiveness. And then on these off days, we're just at like 90% effectiveness, mentally, physically. And again, we are choosing these off days of no caffeine strategically. So probably, not on your hardest thinking days, not on your hardest workout days. Use caffeine strategically in those situations. So really think about the 2 days that you have to do the lowest amount of thinking, the lowest amount of like socially, having to think on your feet, having to talk, having to present, stress, like lower stress days. And those are the days that you want to pick for your 2 days per week that are caffeine free. 0 stimulants, 0 caffeine on those 2 days. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is I want you to cycle your caffeine sources. I want you to have at least 2, preferably 3 different caffeine sources. And this is going to help tremendously. It's going to help you save money. It's going to help you feel the effects of each source more. And it's going to be easier on your body so that you don't fry your central nervous system. So this is a really, really important step. So cycling your caffeine sources. I use 3 sources. Number 1 is cold brew coffee. I don't brew my own. I know my boy Rob Dion is all about me doing this. And I'm just like, dude, like I don't do recipes that are more than 3 steps. So I'm just not going to take time to brew my own coffee when I don't care about taste. That's the kicker with me is I do not care how anything tastes. So I just consume for performance, and I'm thrilled with. I get the cold brew concentrate. Locally here in Indiana, we have Kroger grocery stores. The Simple Truth organic brand I get a cold brew concentrate for like $10. I'm paying less than, I think it's like 70 cents per serving, where I'm getting about 80 milligrams of caffeine per serving. I just dump it in with just water or ice water, and I'm good to go. I kind of sip on that periodically. So that's my first source, the cold brew Simple Truth concentrate. The second source of caffeine and stimulants is called Tao, T-A-O. And this is the nootropic supplement that is provided by the ultrahuman.net. And we do have a promo code MPM10. You'll save 10% there. I get nothing back off of that. Jason does hook me up with my monthly Tao product, though. Jason Deere, shout out to him. But it's a nootropic. It's got some caffeine in it, but it is a stimulant. It is a cognitive enhancer. This is my go-to heavy thinking day or speaking day. If I'm going to go out, podcast day today, I'm recording shows. I have to be able to speak clearly and fluidly. And, some of you are probably going, damn, this is when he's on Tao. I hate to see him when he's not, because I'm still kind of, I ramble and mumble around a little bit, but I notice that I do much, much better when the Tao is in my system. So that is my second source. And again, I use that in heavy thinking, heavy speaking type of days. The third source I've been using is called Strong Coffee, which is kind of a blend of the first two. It's like a blend. It's got some nootropics. It's got the coffee in it as well. And I really love this on my workout days, like the hard workout days. My hardest workout days. Now, this does have collagen protein in it. So if you're doing intermittent fasting or fasting, this would break a fast where the other two would not. So if I am doing a fasting day, I don't do strong coffee on the empty stomach because it breaks my fast. There's like 125 calories. There's 10 grams of protein in it, but it does have collagen protein in it, which I love. As of the time that I'm recording this, I do not have an affiliate set up with Strong Coffee. So this is just an open recommendation. If I do get a discount code or something, I'll put it in the show notes by the time this goes live. But otherwise, just check them out. They're all over the place on social media, especially on Instagram. And I got to meet these guys at KetoCon this year, and they were super friendly and very helpful when I had questions. But again, it's kind of a mix of the first two. It's got the coffee component. It's got the nootropic component. And nootropic, I know that's a newer word for a lot of you. That's just a cognitive enhancer. It's like getting your brain to work more effectively, basically. So those are the three sources that I'm using. And by cycling the sources, again, you're not getting addicted to the one source. You're changing it up for our body, And this is also going to save our central nervous system quite a bit. All right. Now, those are the first two rules. So rule number 1 is 2 off days. Rule number 2 is cycle your caffeine sources with at least 2, preferably 3 or more sources. Rule number 3, set a daily caffeine time boundary. What I would like to have you shoot for is no caffeine within 6 to 8 hours of when you are going to try to go to sleep that day. So if night time is 9 p.m., we need to be off caffeine by 1 p.m. at the very back edge. Ideally, it would be 11 a.m. I know a lot of you, again, are thinking, like, damn, that's going to be really hard because normally I do a 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. And if you're going to bed a little bit later, I go to bed early. 8 p.m., I'm lights out, ladies and gentlemen. But I know a lot of you stay up a little bit later than that. So just shoot for that 6 to 8 hour window pre-bedtime. Cut off your caffeine because it's still going to be in your system. The last thing that we want to do is screw up your sleep because that's the best cognitive enhancer that we have. And that's when our body is repairing all this, this muscle tissue damage that we're dishing out when we work out and do our strength training and things like that. So the last thing we want to do is screw up our sleep with caffeine. So set that boundary and you will get used to it. As you follow this protocol, again, you're going to get more bang for your buck. You're going to feel your caffeine. It's going to be more effective and efficient. So once you go through that detox, especially coming down to rule number 3 here with this caffeine boundary, it's not going to be as big of a deal as you think. So just trust the system, trust the process, as you hear a lot of professional sports teams say. All right, so the weekly caffeine calendar for myself, this is what it looks like. Monday, I do Tao, and Monday is a long that's when I write a lot of my newsletters. That's when I'm setting up my marketing for the week. I do some interviews on that day if I'm being interviewed, but it's just a long day of thinking, and I need to be dialed in tight as far as my mental processes. So that's why I choose Tao on that day. Tuesday is a strong coffee day. Tuesday is leg day. I train hard with the legs, and that is just my jam. Strong coffee works really well. I'm not worried about fasting. I get plenty of calories in before I train on my leg day. So strong coffee gets that nootropic plus the caffeine from the coffee. I like that a lot. Wednesday is podcast interview day. So you guessed it, we're back to Tao, and I sprinkle in some cold brew. I do Tao first thing. So usually I get that in my system between 5 and 5:30 a.m. I do my power hour, and then after breakfast, I tend to fast. Actually, I do family breakfast. I don't eat breakfast. I fast on Wednesdays as well. So I'll sprinkle in some cold brew after I get the kids off to school, and then a little bit towards the noon hour, and then I shut it down for the rest of the day. But that's a decent amount of caffeine for me with the Tao and the cold brew. I'll do usually 2 servings of cold brew, one at 9, one at noon. So that's about an extra 160 total milligrams of caffeine there. But that sets me up. I have good interviews. Hopefully, I bring the energy, and we're good to go. So Thursday's an off day, no caffeine. So I like having that higher day, and then boom, we come off with a lower day. I do work out on Thursdays, but it's an upper body push-pull workout. It's not a super intense one. I can get through it. I get plenty of sleep on Wednesday night. Thursday morning, I'm good to go. So that's a good day for me for off. I don't do interviews on that day. I don't put together like any projects. So it's just kind of a wrapping the week up type of a day. So that's a good day for an off day for me. Friday, I get some high intensity cardio in the morning. So I do strong coffee there. It's my second hardest workout day. So with that, I again prefer the strong coffee. Saturday is an off day. That's a family day. I don't have a whole lot of critical thinking to do. I'm not doing public speaking on Saturdays usually. And so that's another good off day for me. And then Sunday, I just sprinkle in cold brew throughout the day. And that's another non-work day, non-workout day. And I just take her easy. And I do a little bit of cold brew as needed to just kind of feel the energy throughout the day. So that's my caffeine calendar. Next steps. If you feel like you need to do the detox, let's start that next week. All right. You can even start it this week if you want to. If you're listening to this on a Monday, we can start this today. these episodes come out on Mondays. You've probably already had your first cup of coffee as you listen to this, but we can do that first 25% from baseline reduction and start that today. If you aren't a major caffeine person, but you're kind of caffeine curious, hashtag caffeine curious, then you can start the protocol. Just kind of, get a couple sources and let's find the days that work best for each source and let's experiment with this. But each day should feel good. Like I'm not, crazy buzzed, but just like I said, on the days you have caffeine, if 100% effectiveness is you just feel normal and you don't feel cranky and you feel like you don't need a nap and you don't feel hangry throughout the day, then on the days that you have caffeine in your system, you should feel like 110 to 115%, pretty much every time. Then on the days you don't have caffeine, maybe you're at 90 to 95%. If you're really sinking low on those non-caffeine days, or if you're really buzzing on the caffeine days, we need to adjust a little bit. So if you're really buzzing hard, we need to reduce our amount a little bit. If you're feeling really, really low, you probably, again, need to reduce your amount on the on days a little bit, just so your body can adjust. Now, if you guys have questions about this, blast me on Instagram, all right? Message me on Instagram, send me a DM. I'm at Million Pound Mission. If you got something out of this episode, I would love for you to shout it out on your Instagram story, tag me, and let me know what you think. You can also always just send me an email directly. Just go to millionpoundmission.com, hit the contact button at the top, and we can connect that way as well. Let me know what you guys think about the episodes I've been doing recently on my Monday solo episodes. I'm trying to do a little bit more teaching. I will always have the motivation and the overall big concept transformation strategy. But the last few weeks, I felt like I've had a few specific topics I want to teach on, like with my calorie cycling, the power hour protocol, and then here with the caffeine. So let me know what you think about these types of episodes. If you like it, I'll keep doing more. If you don't, then I will, not do these types of episodes. But, the support from you guys around the show has been really amazing. I appreciate that. I love our community. At the time of this release, we will have just finished up our live event. So I'm sure that has gone very well. And I'll be very excited to do a wrap up on that and talk to you guys about how that went soon enough. But I'm just really excited about the community, and I love hearing from you guys. So thank you so much for your support of the show. Now, my friends, let's get out there and own it every meal, every workout, every day. I will see you on the next episode. Hey, thanks for hanging out after the episode. I hope you enjoyed this one and that you are ready to take action. And speaking of taking action, I want to call your attention to my free resources that I have listed on millionpoundmission.com. Just go to the website. You'll see a bar across the screen that says free resources. Click on that bar and you'll see all of the best freebies, like my new mini course, The 7 Necessary Steps for Long-Term Weight Loss Success. That is free. We've got my transformation battle plan workbook. That is free. And then a free 15-minute strategy session with the PhD. That is me. We can get on a Zoom chat and get eyeball to eyeball and work on some strategy to help you reclaim your momentum. So all of those resources are free. I'm going to continuously add more freebies to that bar on the website, millionpoundmission.com. So check them out. It's 100% free. I'm here to add value to you and get you in a place where you feel like you are back in control of your health, your momentum, and you're moving in the right direction.